That's good. That's good.
All
Handling
right,
business.
guys, we are live. All right, I'm excited. This is gonna be some really good tea tonight. And I hope, as a matter of fact, I want to tell everybody right now, share this feed and maybe like go grab your significant other, your husband, your wife real quick, or maybe you might be engaged to be married or whatever, somebody who you feel like you want to be with a long time, because we're going to get into some really good information. I actually love Marriage Mansion, not only because it was written and produced by my godparents and brother, and I'm really proud of what they've done. But really, the content is so good because even Sam and I was just talking a few minutes ago. Like, I really feel like marriage is kind of like under fire right now because we're in a day and time where, there are a lot of women that are like leveling up, bossing up, and making the money. And I think that's great. But I definitely have some concerns about the fabric of family, because I think that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when women become girl bosses, they also take on a very masculine position in the relationship, which can leave them manless. Let's be real clear. So Sam, let's jump into it with you a little bit, because you was married on Marriage Mansion. Well, first, before we get into that, tell us, because you've been acting since you were 4 years old, almost out your mama's womb. You're not new to it. So tell us a little bit about your acting career, because you played in some really amazing shows that were some of my faves as well. So talk a little bit about who you are as an actor and how you got started.
All right, cool. So my name is Sam Smith. Samuel Smith is my professional name. I literally did my first commercial when I was in the fourth grade. But before that, I was doing, the things that you do in church. I had a bunch of Easter speeches that I would do, or, I have a dream speech for Black History Month. We did so much work in the church because my grandmother had a church, my mom went to her own church, and my mom knew very early because she was shy, she wasn't going to allow her children to be shy. So she just made sure that we were always out in front. Well, that led to me being able to do commercials and print work and modeling at a very young age. And then from there, I decided to get into theater arts at school, which allowed me to do a lot more acting, developing character work, that sort of thing. And that led me to me going to undergrad at Alabama State, the Alabama State University. From there, I ended up getting a degree in theater arts, then got a fellowship to go to Brandeis University. And at Brandeis, I got an MFA in acting. And then I moved to New York and started this career of being a working actor. I had the opportunity to do recur on The Sopranos. I had the opportunity to have a few episodes of Law and Order. I did Elementary and like all of the New York shows. But among my favorites were Shades of Blue with Jennifer Lopez and Ray Liotta. I did 2 seasons there, which was amazing, amazing cast. And then from there, just starting to develop my own work, and then finally getting up with like Mark Buddington, who directed this film, getting up with him and him just being like, Sam, we can do a lot of stuff if we just pull together a team. And he brilliantly pulled together a team of people, and slowly but surely, in my opinion, has started to build an empire. So that's where my acting started, and we're still on the journey, moving upward and onward.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations on that. Yeah, Sopranos was my favorite. They had a lot of cussing, but the plot was thick. I love a good gangster
Right,
movie.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, good job on that. Okay, Tyrese, how did you kind of get started?
My path is much different than Sam.
Okay.
I I started acting over 20 years ago. I started out like him. I started out doing print modeling. Believe it or not, when I first started, I had hair, which I no longer have anymore. So so that's to let you know how stressed out I am about this business. Um, yeah. So I kind of just you know gravitated my way through modeling, and then I got called to do a commercial, which I've never done, and they kind of, my buddy was directing it. He's like, "Yeah, you could do it," and I'm like, "All right." So I went to New York. It just happened to be for Comedy Central. It was like a promo for the Dave Chappelle show, and
Mm.
I had never acted before, so I was like, "All right, let's try it." So I got a taste for it, and then I started going to school. He said, "You should take classes in acting," and I was like, "Well, how do I do that?" So he started giving me all this information about classes and what I could learn and stuff like that. So I said, "Cool." So I started taking acting classes at Stella Adler, T.S. Schreiber, all in New York. And currently I'm taking classes with Ivana Chubbuck right now. But I just, people just kept telling me classes, classes, classes. Just keep taking classes. The more classes you take, the better you'll get, the better you'll get. So I just kept doing that. And I think my first major role was on Paranoia, which is a film with Harrison Ford, Gary Oldman, Liam Hemsworth, Amber Heard. That was my first big role, and on the major screen. And then just started doing TV series after that. Co-starring roles on Blacklist, The Deuce, um, Blue Bloods. Uh, just kept working, and then like Sam, I hooked up with Mark through a friend of mine. Hooked up with Mark, and me and Sam actually did a film together called When Girls Ride, which that's my guy right there. uh, so we did that project together, and then yeah, went to Atlanta, started doing projects with Sam and Mark, and met a whole bunch of people on set, and became, sort of like a family with them. So big ups to them, because they kind of like, took me in.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Reese, what's up, girl? I see you on, beautiful. She's on here watching tonight. Okay, so you said something that kind of sparked something to me. You said, they were saying just keep taking classes, keep taking classes, keep taking classes. And when I think about the movie Marriage Mansion, I think that sometimes when people get married, and I've been married now to my honey for 24 years, yay. But I think that sometimes people forget, like, that's something you need to keep working on. Like, if you want to, whatever you want to be good at, right? So I'm heavily involved in all the asset classes. So I study asset classes every day. You guys are heavily involved in acting. You're taking acting classes. Marriage Mansion, the movie, I mean, obviously was an opportunity for you guys to get work, which is always something I, heard. I've done reality TV as well, and did some acting in theater. But I've always heard that, acting sometimes it's like feast or famine. So when you get opportunities, you're always excited about them. But then there's some opportunities you're like, okay, this is special. I'm really going to make an impact. This is really going to be something that can speak to the culture. When Mark called, I guess it was Mark, right, that called you both about Marriage Mansion, right? When Mark called you about Marriage Mansion and told you, about the opportunity, I guess, honestly, what was kind of some of your thoughts? What made you be drawn to the project besides the fact, hey, we got another opportunity to be on the big screen, which is always usually great. But what was it that made you kind of say, oh, wow, this project kind of sounds interesting?
Sam, you want to go first, or should I?
Yeah, I can start with that one. The thing that drew me to the project was the fact that it was going to feel like a reality type show. There's representational acting, and then there's presentational, right? So Marriage Mansion gave us the opportunity to be our real selves, the characters, real selves, but also be our real selves in positions where we got a chance to see some of these characters and their relationships kind of unravel and see how they were going to come back together.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got the script and he told me what part he wanted me to play, I thought it was really special, because that's not the type of person I am. I'm a lot more vocal. Keith, the character Keith, was someone who loved really, really hard, and he understood that in that relationship, he needed to do what was right, even though she didn't see it. And I think as the leader of a house, you have to know that sometimes you have to do the unpopular thing, even if it's just, I got to do this thing for us because she doesn't see it yet. She saw, I'm making money now. Yeah, you're making the money now, but like this house, this lifestyle, it's because of us that propelled you to that place. Now while we're building again, it's going to be important that we try to hold on and stay connected to each other. So I made sure that my character had this level of empathy and vulnerability that I hope, came across on screen. But I knew that there are men like this in the world who are really holding down a lot more than just like the jobs outside of dealing with the world. They also have to deal with like this fight inside the home. And that's something that we don't talk about a lot because men are supposed to be so strong. So I felt that this would be a really big challenge for me. And I love doing it. I love like engaging in that script in that way.
Yeah, so that's really good. I kind of want to dive a little bit more into that. But before we do that, Tyrese, what made you kind of attracted to the project?
So I was sent the script. I read it. I loved it. I've never done reality, kind of like reality TV, / movie. I was interested. I love a challenge. When I got on set, I kind of met everybody. Reese, shout out to Reese Odom. Dawn, who played my wife. She, we kind of went to the side and we talked about our characters, talked about how we was gonna make the relationship work. How we were gonna bring these two characters together. We talked about the trials and tribulations of these two characters, and just knowing what and what realness of marriage can we bring to these characters. The ups and downs of married couples. Like having trouble having some people have trouble having kids. Some people argue over finances. Some people, are unhappy because they feel like their partner is not doing, what somebody else's partner is not doing for them. We kind of compare relationships when we shouldn't. We should be focusing on our own relationships. So we kind of brought all that together and said, we're going to make this grounded. We're going to ground these characters and make them real, make people relate to these characters.
Yeah. So, because you were married to, who were you married to in the movie?
Dawn.
You're married to Dawn. Which, do you remember her cast name?
Reese Odom.
Okay, you were married to Reese. Okay, right. So
yeah.
you guys in your particular relationship, I mean, for the most part, you guys loved each other. It was just a matter of her not wanting to put. And guys, if you have not watched Marriage Mansion, let me tell you something. You need to watch it. Right? Get on Tubi. Make it a date night. Make it a popcorn. Make it a family night. Like, I think this movie has so many great messages. She was ready. You were ready to have a baby. She was like, no, let me, do my thing first. And
right.
That was kind of becoming a thing. Mm-hmm. You're going to say something to that?
She wanted to focus on her career. She wanted to focus on her career and get her career together before she could even think about wanting to have kids. Me, I was like, I'm ready now. We're not getting any younger. I was ready. I don't want to give away the twist, but it's something that couples go through. I'll just say that.
Yeah. You guys make sure you make it right. Watch it tonight. When y'all got up here, go on and pop some popcorn, child. Get on Tubi and watch Marriage Mansion. I promise you it's going to be good. I love the couples therapy idea. I love that more than just counseling. Mm-hmm. A couple and a counselor, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think that there's something to be said when you can look at other couples, because sometimes we can get idealism. And I think women in particularly can get very idealistic. And sometimes you have to see other couples that some things are just very much, that's kind of how men move. And this is kind of how women move. and reminding yourself that if you got somebody that really loves you, loves God, loves your family, like simmer and actually work through it. I think we're so afraid to sit in tension. We're afraid to sit in, I don't like this right now, that we want to flee, and then flee to only go and find out, okay, that there are other issues that I run into. Sam, talk a little bit about that, because obviously your wife was, you know, she was a boss and she had become very dominant and, you know, just all the things. I felt like she was very emasculating to you in the movie. And I'm seeing that culturally. What do you have to say about that?
She was very emasculating in the movie, and it takes a man to really understand why and what's happening. There were moments. There's like one particular moment when, you know, they had like this big blow up, and he went to the bedroom and he talked to her, and a lot of the scene was actually cut, but he had a chance to talk to her about why we were in the situation that we were in. How when I met her, she was nothing. You know, she was a pretty girl, and now she's kind of leveled up, but it's been because of the wind beneath her wings that I, you know, allowed that to kind of push her up. And this is the same thing that men do sometimes. They will talk down to their women because they're making the money and they are the breadwinners. But when you have two people who are truly connected, it doesn't matter who's making the money, they're partners. And when they're partners, the relationship works because it's allowed to grow. You know, you put that seed in like fertile soil, that soil will allow that seed to germinate and like really become something beautiful. And I think people, men and women both, when it feels like they're doing all of the work, it's
Mm,
easy to overlook the things that they're not doing. You know,
mm,
like, are you picking up after yourself? Are the dishes
mm,
washed? Is the house clean? Like, what things are you not doing because you're being the boss? The things that you come home to that are very comfortable. What things are those that you don't have to worry about now, so that you can focus the way that you need to focus in on the lifestyle and the career that you have. A lot of times we forget that stuff. And if we
mm.
continue to forget that stuff, it will lead to a lot of divorces, you know? So it happens. Men and women do it both. It goes both ways. But we have to always remember, if you love someone, you understand that marriage is through ups and downs. It's through trials and tribulations. It's through the good times and the bad times, through sickness and in health. You know, sometimes that sickness and health can be how money is coming in, how it's going out, what we're spending on. Do we need to downsize, you know, in order to still have a comfortable life? Or are you so comfortable where you are that you can't imagine having to downsize a little bit? And how would that take a toll on the relationship?
Mm.
It's an epidemic, and I think men and women both are starting to become really comfortable with being nasty and mean
Mm,
because it feels like they're doing all of the work.
Can I
mm.
can I piggyback off of that a little bit?
Please.
So so I will say this: if you are in a relationship and you're married, the number one thing is if you're not having fun with your partner, if y'all not finishing each other's sentences, if you're not waking up smiling at each other, or you know, they say uh you know, you should be giving 30 hugs a day to your significant other. And you know, that's what I heard anyway. uh 30 hugs a day will make the day, loving. But more so than anything, you know, if you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying each other's company, if you make your marriage all about money and materialistic things, then it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work, because I'll quote the genius Denzel. You'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take none of that stuff with you. But the only thing you can do is love the person that's in front of you.
That's really good. And I think Marriage Mansion, the movie, that's how I like it, because I feel like it addresses so many of these issues that we're seeing in culture, and hopefully helping us get back to what marriage is really all about, which it is love. And then I think being reminded that there are seasons in your marriage, right? When my husband and I first got married, he had a lot of fame and popularity and made a lot of money. He was spinning circles around me and influence and circles around me and the amount of money they made. And then after about 10 years, then I was at a point where I was making more money than him. And then after a few years, then, and so now he's trumping me again, And so I think, just understanding that just like it was in the beginning of your marriage is not necessarily how it's going to be in the middle and how it's going to be at the end, which is why I think that we have to continue to have communication and be in settings like Marriage Mansion where we can see other couples and talk to those things and be reminded. Now, do you guys both feel like that there's too much materialism and money at the source of people's marriage now? Because we're in an era now where people are, bosses and doing well. Do you feel like it's not so much about if there's real chemistry or real attraction or real love? Is that how? I'm just curious on how you guys kind of see it.
I do. I think people look more at the materialistic situation than, the actual person. It's weird because you could see it in some people. When you see them out, you're out, and you look at a couple, you could tell just by their energy. You could tell by their energy and the way they move, the way they operate, the way they, touch each other. Like you go out to dinner sometime and you look across the table, I'll see two people sitting together and they'll be on their phones rather than having a conversation with each other. Like the phone
but is that because of money though?
I would say it's business moves that they're making on those phones, or they could be doing something else. Social media, they're on social media. But 9 times out of 10, money is the failure of a lot of marriages. Because like Sam said, the husband is making the money. He tried to he tries to, put her down, or vice versa. She making the money and she'll put him down, and in some cases, man, people, like when they're out, especially when they're with friends that maybe he's not friends with these people, longer than she's been friends with them. Sometimes the female will say something and put her husband down in front of her friends, thinking that it's funny, but it's not funny. To him, it's not funny, because you putting him down in front of your friends, making him look, lesser than a man. And then sometimes I'll see guys doing it to their wives in front of their boys, thinking that he's being funny when actually he's hurting her feelings.
Yeah. So Sam, what about you? What you think? Do you think that that's a big issue, or?
I do think it's an issue. I think a lot of what's happening is you have more access to more things now. So you can see what people are doing, and we often fail to realize that people are only posting the great things on social media. They don't post, we had an argument, bills was late this month. Checks didn't come when they were supposed to. Real estate is going slower. They don't post that stuff. People tend to post the great things, and people looking at it want to emulate the great stuff at a detriment to themselves and their relationships, not knowing and not understanding that when people are posting, they may be posting a part of their life, but it's not the entire thing. And you get a lot of people in relationships that's trying to make their entire life 10% of what someone else has posted. And that really does cause a real gap because now we're living on the internet and on social media as opposed to trying to live, in person with, your significant other.
Facts.
Yeah, the access. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You look at it like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. Oh my gosh. Or if you look at social media, you think everyone is doing well financially. But just because you
Oh,
have a nice car,
everyone is rich on social media. Everyone's a millionaire on social media.
I did a live earlier. We looked at, huh?
I said everyone is popping bottles and on vacation. Everybody's doing well. Everyone is at premieres, and they're doing all the great things.
Yeah, we were actually. I did a live earlier with a girlfriend of mine who owns a bank, and we were looking at the stats on the amount of millionaires that were made last year, and we looked at it. But out of that number, only 4% were people of color. But we were just talking about that. But if you look at social media, you would think, oh, Black people are doing really, really well. Not when you look at the actual data, right? But there's the appearance of, and so I think, those are all the things that we have to remind ourselves as adults. Sometimes I think as parents, it's like, well, I'm gonna make sure I tell my children. You gotta make sure you tell yourself.
Yeah.
Tell yourself that, hey, this is not, as you can have a great marriage, but still understand that it's going to take some work. It's going to take some humility. It's going to take some dying to self. It's going to take some compromise. It's going to take, it's going to take all those things. And so I want to thank both of you for, I think, doing a dynamic job. I love the reality movie spin. That was fun. I thought that was really, really fun. And I think it really, really worked. And I think that there's a lot of great messaging that can help strengthen people's marriage, or if you're thinking about getting married, helping to give you some perspective. I do want to ask you this because, we're in a day and time now where everybody is not even wanting to get married. Like some people are like, we're just going to be together. Where do you think that introduction was, and how do you personally feel about it, one way or the other? And again, I really want to encourage you guys to watch Marriage Mansion on Tubi. Tell your family, tell your friends to watch it, because this is the kind of wholesome programming that we need to have. It had fabulosity, it had people of color, it had great messaging, it was authentic, and it's dealing with people's real life marriage issues. So really want to encourage you to make sure you watch that. But yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Sorry.
People not wanting to get married.
Irene's like, that's me.
Nah, it's to be honest with you, there's a lot of people who they look at other people's marriages and they see the issues. Like you might have, I might have some friends that see, a couple's marriage or what have you, and they see them fighting, or they see the issues and problems, and they'll go, man, I don't want that. Like that right there, nah, I can't deal with that. Like, a lot of the friends I have, they're like, I love the single life. I love to, be who I am. I love to go on vacation when I feel like it, and I have somebody tell me what to do or when to do it. And, and I said, it's not necessarily like that, but, the way my friends look at it, they look at it differently. And I'm like, you looking at it from a wide screen instead.
Okay, but I gotta ask this. So are they just saying they want to stay single and no commitment, or they don't mind being committed but not married?
Well, two of my friends are in a relationship. Here's the thing. Their significant others are wanting them to eventually pop the question. And I tell you for a fact, one of my friends, I ain't gonna say his name, one of them is like, I'm not doing it. So
okay, all right. So I gotta ask this, Sam. I'm coming to you next. I'm just curious because I feel like when my husband saw me, he immediately knew. The first thing he said to me is, "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. You're supposed to be my wife." I feel like men are hunters and they know if they want you or not.
Right.
And it doesn't take them a year or two to figure that out. So there may be a lot of single people watching this movie, and I'm, what do you feel about that, Sam? Do men know instinctively pretty quickly, or what do you think?
I think society has put men in a position to have to financially be ready for marriage. And we aren't always in position to get with the woman or provide for the woman the way that we feel is necessary. And when you can't provide the way that you feel is necessary, whether you like it or not, you're going to be looked down at from her parents, her friends. You don't want to be like the broke dude that can't afford to do this or to do that. So it's almost necessary for a man to kind of like build up his money, even if he finds a very solid young woman that he wants to be with. What he can do is let her know, like, my intentions are to marry you. Mm-hmm. Those are my intentions, but you have to allow me to build now. And if she's willing to go along on that ride, some women will be like, yo, I'll help you build. Let's get married and I'll help you build and we can both get to this thing. And, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But a lot of women want a finished product already. And if it's not a finished product, a lot of times they'll play you to the left so that they can go to someone who may feel like a finished product. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's two sides of it. You have some men that's like, yo, I see you. I love you. I know I love you. I want you to be my wife. And I'm ready right now, financially and emotionally, and I can bring these things to the table. Some men aren't ready emotionally yet, right? And they don't know that they're not ready emotionally. They're not ready financially. And some women aren't willing to wait. So every situation is different. But when you find someone who is, ready, a man who's ready and a woman who's ready, and they come together, getting married shouldn't be a hard decision to make.
Tyrese, you about to say something?
Well, no, I was just going to say, I want to go back to what we were saying. I am married. So.
Okay.
I do have a wife, but I'm just speaking along, of my friends and how they feel. Me, myself, I have a good relationship with my wife. We have 3 kids together, and I don't know how other people feel. I try to tell my friends, it's not what they think, I told them, if you find someone that is, basically down for you and, they're willing to do 50-50, bring 50-50 to the table, and if not, if you feel like you need to help her along the way so she can get to where she need to be, and he got to accept that, and vice versa. She got to accept that too. As long as they're working towards a goal, at the end of the day, it's about, working together. And that's
I think it's partnership, and not even so much 50-50 is partnership.
Yeah.
I happen to do most of the cooking in my house. I'm the one that brings in the housekeeper and cleans. I mean, my honey's just not doing that, but I'm not looking for equality from him in that, right? But he supports me in other ways. You see what I'm saying? So I think that the key is figuring out, okay, God, this is the spouse that you gave me. What is important to me, and knowing what's important for them. But again, you guys, Sam and Tyrese, you did a great job on Marriage Mansion. You played the role. It was engaging. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. How he about to handle this? It definitely was giving all of the spice. Ben and I was like, ooh, no, she didn't. So especially you, Sam, Treasure was something else. Reese was a lot easier to deal with. Hers wasn't as, volatile, but I still like her kind of like, no, wait, So I think you'll find yourself in one of those marriages, and hopefully we can do a Marriage Mansion conference maybe one day. Who knows? We'll see. But I think there are a lot of people who help, huh?
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it can help a
that
lot
sounds
of people.
amazing.
I think it can help a lot of people. So listen, guys, thanks so much for jumping on here tonight. This was really good. I appreciate it. And just before we get ready to wrap and close, why should they watch Marriage Mansion on Tubi? Tyrese, in a sentence or two, why?
You should watch Marriage Mansion because it will bring you closer to your significant other if you are married. It will dive into some of the problems that you've been having and you don't have the answers to. Now you will get those answers.
Yeah.
You love this. You will love this film for who it is, for what it is, and who you see on here. And you can look at these people and go, "That's me. That's us."
Yep.
So
Yep.
I encourage everyone to jump on Tubi, watch this movie, and just pay attention. There's subliminal messages in this film that you're gonna love. You're gonna love the characters. And yeah, shout out to Mark Buddington, shout out to Reese Odom, shout out to Walter Fredericks, shout out to Sam, my guy. Shout out to Sexy Lexi and Treasure P, Reese Odom, Audrey, Denzel, all my castmates. I love all y'all. Thank you. I appreciate you.
That's good. Sam.
I think it's a very entertaining show. It's a very entertaining movie, so you'll absolutely love to just sit and watch it. Also, you'll find a piece of yourself in it. I think everyone that's seen the movie have that one thing. Like, I found this part of myself in this movie, and it helped to heal something within me. So if you're looking for, number one, a good time, a very entertaining time, and to grow, maybe just a little, but to grow, check out Marriage Mansion. It's on Tubi.
Yeah, that's good. Check it out because it also has some funny parts too, child. It got the drama and the juice, okay? So make sure you watch Marriage Mansion on Tubi. Sam and Tyrese, thanks so much for coming on here, hanging out with me tonight. Everybody, thanks for jumping on. Let us know what you think about Marriage Mansion on Tubi. All right, God bless everybody. Bye-bye.
God bless.
Appreciate it.